Hello YouTubers, I'm back with another video of tips and tricks for using rhythm on the RC-600. And previously I have showed videos on how to record the built-in drums onto different tracks using different genres and even tempos on different tracks in the same memory slot. You can see my videos on this channel, but this time I'm going to show you how to make your own beats through thumping your guitar to create 4/4 backbeat, 4/4 kick drum, boom, 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 okay? And have it pitch perfect and tempo perfect. Now, I'm using as an example Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics, but I'm hoping that you can get all kinds of different ideas for this trick. Okay, first let me say that before you start, please make sure your unit is updated to firmware version 1.2 at least, or above, but it's got to be version 1.2 for the features that I'm using here. Okay, now I'm going to show you the traditional way we usually get the beats that we want, using just doing it ourselves manually and relying on our own timing to create a loop. And right now I've got it set on multi loops for all the tracks, and I've got this set, track 1 I have set as, I'm going to change that because I'm going to do this free. This is free and it's in multi-mode, okay? And that's because it's free, because I'm going to determine the loop length. And what I'm going to try and do is get as close to 120 as I can, because 120 is the tempo I've worked out I like playing Sweet Dreams at. And let's give it a go. Okay, there's the kick drum sound, and to get that I'm just using the palm of my hand just above the strings, between the bridge and the sound hole. And again, there's a lot of really good tutorials on YouTube. Just search percussive guitar and you'll see what I mean. Okay, I'm gonna try and get this 120 4/4 beat. Okay, that sounds pretty good. This comes with practice, where you hit it on the 1 beat, 3, 4, close it on the 1 beat, 3, 4, 1, start, 1, stop, and so on. Now, how did I do on my tap tempo? Let's see. Ooh, that's not great. Okay, the reason that's not great is because, I mean, I could work with it. If I was doing this live, I could work with that tempo, but I've got, as you can see on my DD200, I have an effect that I want to use that's quite a high level effect, and I've have it dialed into 120 ready to go. Now I could, do that beat as close as I can. I'm not going to be able to see what the tap tempo is. I'm not going to be able to see that it's 115 because I can't do that while I'm playing. And to match it, I'm just going to have to hit the tap button on my DD200 and hope that I'm close. And that's all doable. The only downside is, even it doesn't matter how accurate you are, it's just giving you another thing to think about. And, if you're good at it, and I consider myself pretty good at it, there's going to be still one time at least in 20 where it's going to completely screw up, and you got to start it over, and it's just no fun. So I'm going to show you a way where you don't have to use your brain at all. And to do that, we're going to use a effect called roll, R-O-L-L. Now, to get to this effect, we're going to hit the loop button twice, input effects, and I've put it on bank effect C on bank A. And there it is, roll 1. I'll just zoom in for you here a bit and see what I'm doing. And what I have it set to the quarter note. It's got all other kinds of notes in there and millisecond intervals, but I want 4 beats per measure. Now roll 1 is like, it's not a delay. It is like a mini loop, and it plays exactly what you've played and repeats at these intervals. And it's very clean. So like I said, it's like a mini loop. Now the feedback is really important here. If you set this feedback low, when you play your note or you strike your guitar, the repeats are going to fade quickly. So we go boom, 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 boom. If you have this high, if you had it all the way up to 100, of course you get them all the same, boom, boom, boom. But what I have found is, even after you turn the effect off, that'll keep going because it's at 100 and it's not going to stop. So I have found that around 94, 95 works really well because you still get a consistent intensity of the beat over 4 beats, but then it will die away after you turn the effect off. I hope that makes sense. I think it will as we do the example. Now I have the balance on 50 and that works for me. Okay, so we've got that set up. And what we're going to do now for the loop in track 1 is, instead of having this on free, where we determine the length of the measure, we're going to put that on 1 measure. There. Okay. And we got it on multi and loop sync. We're going to leave those on there. And measure. I'll come back to that. Now here's the big thing. If you left it like that, it would record your quarter notes in time. But the measure, the length of the measure, wouldn't be determined until you hit the record stop again. The way to avoid this is to turn the rhythm button on. By turning the rhythm button on, we know we have 4 beat measures. And I've set the loop to 1 measure and I've set the rhythm on. Now, what I'm going to do is, while I have the rhythm level here, I'm going to turn that all the way down because I don't want to hear the machine's beats. And I hope this is making sense to you. You can set this tempo to wherever you want. That's the old one, so we're going to set it to 120. We got the rhythm on, so it's going to stop recording after 1 measure. Okay, let me zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, that'll do. So first I'm going to turn the roll effect on, and then I'm going to start recording, and the 4 beats will happen and I'll hit record again. Let's try that. Turn that on. Right, now, that's pretty good. There's a little warble. Can you hear it? A little warble in the beat. Now, after practicing this a lot of times and fiddling around, I found, how can I get rid of that warble and make this even more exact? I got the tap tempo right, but what I've had to do is I've had to think about hitting that the second that I strike my guitar and stopping it on the 1. I still got to do that. Now it's going to synchronize it to the beat, but it's quite a faff, so how could I change it? I said to myself, let's go to loop, record. Now this should always be record play for this effect, because if it carries on with that effect going, it's going to get too loud. If you have it on dub, record dub, so we'll keep that in record play. We'll keep the quantize on. Right here, this is the key. Auto record. Now this puts the unit into recording ready mode and waits for an input there's more than half, well, let's have 50 is the threshold there, and then it'll start recording. Now, if you have, the higher you have this, the more sensitive the trigger is going to be. And so if you have that too high, like, you might just bump your guitar a little bit and it might start going, so you don't want that. I have found that 50 is just right, really. Okay, so this is important. I think that's everything now. So we've got our effect ready. We've got it on standby mode, so let's try again. And we've got the loop measure. Let's just check it again, because now I'm doubting myself. Set to 1. Yeah, and that's very important. Okay, here we go. So we turn the effect on, and we turn this on. Now it's waiting for input. Now you can hear there's no warble. That warble, I think, came from me hitting it on the one that maybe wasn't exact and then hitting it again. But now listen to that. I have a perfect 120 beat that just sounds gorgeous. And all I had to do was hit it once, and it was there. Now, the beauty about this as well is that you can add other parts to this now in multi-mode. You could go back to this. You could add a snare. We're doing our overdub. And it's because it's so precise, it's quite easy to put these flourishes on the beat, but let's take that away. Now what I have set up here is, there we go, you can see the measures. For my second track, and just to show you this really quickly, I have set up as, I'll show you, track 2 is set up as having 2 measures. It's going to be twice as long, but the track itself is, the loop sync is going to happen by measure. So no matter where I start recording or I start playing it, it's going to sync to the nearest measure. And this is the beauty of version 1.2 firmware. John Paul Music has done a great review of this. I've got a kind of a synthesizer effect. It's called slow gear. And that's just an example. That's like the Sweet Dreams riff there. And there we go. I think I've covered everything. Do let me know if you think I haven't. And let me know your thoughts about what else could be improved or not. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.